eCapitol News Director Sean Ashley is here with more on the state's precarious financial situation and other happenings at the Capitol. Sean, Treasurer Miller seems to be at least somewhat optimistic, even with last month's downturn in collections. What is that likely to mean for the state's general revenue fund?
Well, we will get a better idea this next week when the Office of Management and Enterprise Services does its monthly report on general revenue fund collections. As we saw, Treasurer Miller reported this week that collections for the month of March were off by about $25.5 million or 2.7%. But one of the redeeming factors in there was that the gross production tax was up, as well as individual income tax collections. How this affects the general revenue fund, of course, depends on the taxes involved. Taxes like the individual income tax contribute heavily to the general revenue fund, while the gross production tax contributes a little less. So if you have those taxes that contribute more to the general revenue fund doing well, you look to be in better shape. Office of Management and Enterprise Services spokesman Michael Baker told me a couple of weeks ago that March would be a pivotal month for the state to see how it fares. But by the end of the fiscal year, keep in mind, state finance officials are still expecting a revenue failure and have cut budgets accordingly.
State Finance Director Preston Dorflinger is reportedly seeking some clarification on tapping the rainy day fund. What's the latest?
That's right. As you may recall, a couple of weeks ago, it was revealed that Secretary Dorflinger had borrowed $240 million in cash from the rainy day fund to help the state meet its cash flow needs. This has raised some concerns among legislators, and already House Minority Leader Scott Inman had indicated that he would seek an Attorney General's opinion. About a week ago, Secretary Dorflinger indicated that the final legal authority would rest with the Attorney General, who would render that Attorney General's opinion, but he said his own legal staff had reviewed the action and found it to be legal. This is an interesting situation, because keep in mind that normally what the Director of Finance does is borrow cash on hand to meet cash flow needs. But technically a portion of the rainy day fund could be spent now to meet the revenue shortfall. Another part of it could also be spent now to deal with emergency situations, and the last part of the fund could be appropriated for the next fiscal year to meet the budget shortfall there. So it will be interesting to see how the Attorney General balances these various moving parts to render his opinion.
It is complicated.
It very well is.
Sean Ashley, eCapitol News Director, thanks for bringing us up to date.
You're very welcome.